Welcome to the deep dive. Today we're tackling, well, a really fundamental question for anyone involved in Agile.
hmm
To really do Agile, be Agile, and, ultimately become Agile is an actual framework like Scrum or something. Absolutely essential.
Yeah, it's a question that comes up a lot. We're drawing on some thinking here from Balaji.T.
Right, who's got, over 15 years in Agile, plus tons of IT background, and now he's heading up this combined Agile DevOps AI center, so he's seen a few things.
Definitely. He's got deep experience in transformation, change management, the whole picture.
So our mission today is to really get into his perspective on these frameworks. Are they non-negotiable? Or maybe something you eventually outgrow?
Well, what's really interesting is how he explains his core idea. He uses this analogy, a fruit tree.
A fruit tree, okay.
Yeah, so picture a young fruit tree. You plant it, and what do? You put a fence around it.
Sure, yeah, to protect it from animals, deer, whatever.
Exactly. Goats, cows, he mentions. The fence stops them from eating it or trampling it when it's small and vulnerable.
Okay, so how does that relate to Agile?
He sees an agile framework,
Yeah.
think Scrum, Kanban, whatever, as that initial fence. It's protection for a team that's just starting out with agile.
Ah, I see. So the framework provides that initial structure, like
Yeah.
guardrails.
Precisely. It gives alignment, orientation, helps everyone get on the same page, working towards a common goal in a, well, structured way.
Hmm.
Stops things from being too chaotic at the start.
Right, prevents that initial "what are we even doing" feeling. Makes sense.
Crucial alignment, he calls it.
Okay, what about the tree analogy? What happens later? The fence doesn't stay up forever usually.
Right, so the tree gets bigger, stronger, mature, and eventually you take the fence down. And he points out, those same animals that were a threat, now they might seek shade under the tree.
Interesting flip. So for agile teams,
The idea is, as the team matures, as they really practice and internalize the agile principles, that initial, maybe kind of rigid framework might not be needed anymore.
they've learned to be agile, not just do the framework steps.
Exactly. They've developed their own rhythm, their own understanding. The framework, that fence, which was essential at first, could even become a bit of a hindrance if they stick to it too rigidly when they don't need it.
Okay, so it's a tool for a certain stage, but Balaji also warns about just slapping frameworks onto problems, doesn't he?
Oh, absolutely. Big warning there. Problems arise when frameworks are just blindly forced onto teams as if they're the answer to everything.
Yeah, the classic silver bullet thinking.
Right. Use another analogy, electricity. Electricity isn't bad, it's incredibly useful, but misuse it. It can be fatal.
So frameworks are like that, powerful if used correctly in the right context, but potentially harmful if misapplied.
Pretty much. And he stresses Agile itself isn't the magic fix for every problem either. Frameworks, when used well, set the stage. They create an environment where people can actually come together and tackle the real systemic issues.
They don't solve the problems for you.
No, which leads to his other analogy.
The mirror.
The mirror. Okay, another one. Yeah, like a shaving mirror. The mirror helps you see your face, see where you need to shave, but the mirror itself doesn't do the shaving.
Right. You still need the razor, the cream, the skill.
Exactly. So frameworks, especially ones like Scrum, with their transparency and feedback loops, they're like the mirror. They bring problems to the surface. They highlight issues, maybe communication breakdowns, bottlenecks.
They make the problems visible.
But the team still has to look at what's reflected and then collaborate to actually fix those things. Just implementing the framework, just looking in the mirror, doesn't solve anything on its own.
And this seems to be a core frustration he's observed, right? Companies focusing too much on just doing the framework.
Yes, that's a huge point he makes. He sees companies and clients meticulously implementing framework, maybe even customizing them.
Checking all the boxes.
Right. Doing all the ceremonies, using the artifacts,
Yeah.
but they neglect the underlying principles of Agile, the values.
Like collaboration, responding to change, continuous improvement, the actual mindset.
Exactly. And they still expect the framework alone to magically solve their deep-seated problems. It's like building the fence perfectly, but forgetting to water the tree or give it sunlight.
Yeah, you missed the whole point.
You missed the point.
Okay, so let's try and summarize Balaji's perspective here. It sounds like frameworks are valuable, even essential sometimes, particularly at the beginning.
Definitely. They provide that initial guidance, that structure, the fence, as he puts it, for teams new to Agile. Really helpful for getting started.
And this is the key part. They aren't the end game.
No, the goal isn't to live inside the fence forever. Real agility, that ability to adapt and thrive, comes from the team maturing internalizing those core Agile principles and working well together
So the focus needs to shift away from just the mechanics of the framework.
towards actually being Agile, embodying the principles. The framework is a means, not the end itself.
So for you listening, maybe pause and think. Where is your focus? Is it all about perfecting the fence, the framework implementation?
Or are you also actively nurturing the tree, fostering those Agile principles, empowering the team, building that collaborative muscle so they can eventually thrive without needing the fence quite so much?
It's about whether the goal is just framework compliance or cultivating genuine agile capability. A really important distinction.
Definitely something to chew on.
Absolutely. Well, that gives us a lot to consider from Balaji's viewpoint. Thanks for unpacking that.
My pleasure.
Until the next deep dive.